Do not go anywhere, Blue Jays fans, because today's video covers everything you need to know about what just went down in Dunedin on Monday afternoon, and trust us when we tell you that there is a lot more happening beneath the surface of this spring training than a simple 7-6 box score loss to the Boston Red Sox would suggest. There are roster revelations, bullpen bombshells, and one particular baseball swing that brought every single person inside TD Ballpark to their feet and reminded the entire sport exactly what this team is capable of when the game is on the line. If you are not subscribed to this channel yet, fix that right now and ring the notification bell because we cover the Blue Jays every single day and you absolutely cannot afford to miss what is coming between now and opening day on March 26th. Let us get into every detail of what happened on Monday and what it means for the bigger picture of this team heading into the regular season. Let us start with the moment that had the entire Blue Jays fanbase losing their minds on social media yesterday afternoon, because if you watch the clip and you have a beating heart, you know exactly what we are talking about. Bottom of the fifth inning. Blue Jays trailing 4-0. Bases loaded. 2 outs. The kind of situation where spring training games either produce forgettable at-bats from guys trying not to get hurt or they produce something you genuinely remember. And then Addison Barger stepped into the batter's box against Red Sox minor league reliever Patrick Halligan, sat back on a hanging 78.5-mile-per-hour splitter, and absolutely launched it into home run matters beyond the box score. This is the same young man who hit a grand slam in Game 1 of the 2025 World Series against the Los Angeles Dodgers. The same man who hit a leadoff home run in Game 5 against Blake Snell on the biggest stage the sport of baseball has to offer. The same man who was described by multiple Dodgers players after the series as the guy they were most surprised by, the unexpected weapon in the Toronto lineup who kept showing up in enormous moments and delivering enormous results. He did it in the Fall Classic and he did it again on Monday in Dunedin against the Red Sox. Some hitters are wired to perform when the lights get brightest, and every single piece of evidence we have collected on Addison Barger over the past 12 months suggests he is absolutely one of those hitters. The numbers on the Grand Slam are worth sitting with for a moment because they tell the story of a 26-year-old who is not just getting lucky in big spots but is actually squaring up baseballs with elite exit velocity. 101.7 miles per hour off the bat. That number puts that particular swing in the upper tier of all batted ball events in spring training across the entire Grapefruit League. He got the barrel on a hanging off-speed pitch from a professional pitcher and drove it 399 feet to right field. The timing, according to observers at TD Ballpark, looked dialed in, which is exactly what you want to see from a hitter with Barger's swing profile heading into the final weeks of spring camp. His is what baseball people describe as a high-leverage swing, meaning that when conditions are right and his timing is locked in, the ball goes an enormous distance. When it is not, he can be beaten with premium velocity up in the zone. Monday was very much a dialed-in Addison Barger, and it should make every American League pitcher just a little bit more nervous heading into the regular season. The Grand Slam was not the only notable offensive moment of the afternoon either, because Charles McAdoo was also in the lineup and he made sure nobody forgot about him before the final out was recorded. McAdoo, who has been one of the quieter but more consistent performers of this entire spring training camp, launched a solo home run in the bottom of the 9th inning that traveled 425 feet to right center field, his first long ball of the spring. 425 feet. In a 7-6 game where the Blue Jays were trying to make a comeback, McAdoo stepped up and gave the crowd something to cheer about. He did not quite get the game-tying run across the plate, but the shot was a reminder that this is a player whose physical tools are very real, and manager John Schneider has taken notice of how consistent his defense and at-bats have been throughout camp. Now let us talk about what the pitching side of this game actually showed us, because there are two names in the bullpen conversation right now who are making the most important decision Ross Atkins and Schneider have to make between now and late March significantly more complicated. The names are Spencer Miles and Angel Bastardo, and if you have not been paying close attention to these two arms this spring, you have been missing one of the best subplots of the entire Grapefruit League. Spencer Miles is a 25-year-old right-hander the Blue Jays selected from the San Francisco Giants in the Rule 5 draft back in December. He has spent most of his professional career as a starter but is being deployed as a reliever this spring, and the stuff he is bringing to that role is genuinely turning heads inside the organization. On Monday against the Red Sox, Miles pitched 2 innings, allowed 2 hits, gave up a home run that tied the game, but struck out 3 batters and showed an arsenal that had multiple scouts in attendance reaching for their radar guns with visible excitement. His sinker, which StatCast is classifying as a changeup due to its movement profile, generates 9 inches of vertical separation and 8 inches of horizontal separation from his four-seam fastball, creating a deceptive tunneling effect that makes both pitches genuinely difficult to identify out of his hand. His fastball topped out at 96 miles per hour. His curveball, which was on full display in his spring debut against the Phillies the previous week, is the kind of late-breaking offering that generates chases from hitters who have had plenty of time to prepare for it. MLB.com Blue Jays beat reporter Keegan Matheson called Miles a dark horse candidate for the opening day roster in his most recent camp update, and that assessment feels accurate based on what we are seeing. Here is the catch with Miles that makes his situation especially high stakes. As a Rule 5 draft pick selected from the Giants this past winter, he must remain on the Blue Jays' 26-man active roster for the entirety of the 2026 season, or be offered back to San Francisco. That is the Rule 5 standard, and it means the Blue Jays face a binary choice: keep him on the active roster all year, or give him back to the team they took him from. They are not going to give him back. Not with the stuff he is showing. Not with a fastball that touched 98 miles per hour in the Arizona Fall League last fall, during his recovery from Tommy John surgery. Not with an elite sinker that is already getting swings and misses from professional hitters in Grapefruit League action. Miles is going to be on this team, and the only question now is whether the 7 relievers who were already considered locks for the opening day bullpen are actually all safe. And then there is Angel Bastardo, the second Rule 5 arm in Blue Jays camp, who operates under a slightly different set of rules after spending all of 2025 on the 60-day injured list recovering from his own Tommy John surgery. Bastardo is a 23-year-old right-hander out of Moron, Venezuela who was signed by the Red Sox as an international free agent back in 2018 and climbed through their system as a starting pitcher before the elbow surgery derailed his development. The Blue Jays scooped him up in the Rule 5 draft last December when the Red Sox declined to protect him, and what they have seen from him in spring training has been, by multiple accounts, genuinely impressive. His arsenal in bullpen stints includes a fastball that has been touching 96 to 97 miles per hour, a breaking ball that has generated significant chase rates in his Grapefruit League outings, and the kind of raw power stuff that translates immediately to high-leverage bullpen situations. Blue Jays Central reported this week that Bastardo is already one of the organization's 8 best relievers, which is a bold statement but one that the people watching him throw every day appear to be comfortable making. The bullpen competition those two are entering is not exactly a wide-open door. Jeff Hoffman, Louis Varland, Tyler Rogers, Brendan Little, and Braden Fisher are all projected to be part of the opening day group. Yimi Garcia is starting the year on the injured list, which opens exactly 1 additional spot. Mason Fluharty and Tommy Nance are both competing for that opening, with Nance facing the additional pressure of being out of minor league options, meaning he would have to clear waivers if the Blue Jays choose not to keep him on the 26-man roster. Eric Lauer is also working his way into the conversation as a multi-inning option who could bridge the gap between the starting rotation and the high-leverage arms. That is a lot of bodies fighting over a very small number of spots, and the presence of 2 Rule 5 picks who are legally required to stick on the 26-man roster if the team wants to keep them adds an extra layer of urgency to every single outing between now and the final roster cutdown. The Eloy Jimenez dimension of all of this is also worth keeping in mind, because while Monday's box score did not feature a Jimenez home run, the 105.7-mile-per-hour double he hit earlier in the spring is still reverberating through the analytics rooms of every team in the American League East. Jimenez has now put 13 balls in play this spring, and 8 of them have registered exit velocities at or above 100 miles per hour. Let that number roll around in your head for a moment. 8 out of 13 batted balls at triple digits. Only 4 total came in below 95 miles per hour off the bat. The raw power is completely real, the body transformation is completely real, and the Blue Jays are staring down a situation where a player on a minor league deal is putting up StatCast numbers that a legitimate starting lineup regular would be proud of. Meanwhile, the infield situation is also developing in a way that fans should be paying attention to. Leo Jimenez, who returned to camp from the World Baseball Classic representing Panama, appears to be tracking toward a bench role as the team's primary utility infielder, capable of spelling both Ernie Clement at second base and Andres Jimenez at shortstop on rest days and doubleheader situations. The Blue Jays have valued his glove for years, and the 2026 version of this roster gives him a clearly defined role that plays to his defensive strengths without asking him to produce at a level his bat has not yet demonstrated it can sustain. Josh Casevic continues to make his presence felt from the AAA track, hitting .462 this spring with 0 strikeouts through 13 at-bats, and the organization's love for him is not subtle. The prospect pipeline underneath this roster is genuinely extraordinary, and it shows every single week in Dunedin. The 7-6 final score in Monday's game against the Red Sox tells you very little about what actually matters in Dunedin right now. What matters is that Addison Barger is hitting baseballs at 101 miles per hour off the bat and channeling his World Series Grand Slam energy into March practice games, which suggests his preparation and confidence are both exactly where you want them heading into the regular season. What matters is that Spencer Miles and Angel Bastardo are forcing a bullpen conversation that the Blue Jays did not expect to have this early in camp, and the answers they arrive at over the next 3 weeks are going to shape the back of this roster in ways that could prove decisive come October. What matters is that Cody Ponce is building arm strength and generating encouraging advanced metrics, even in outings where the raw results look messy. And what matters most of all is that this team, this deep, this talented, this motivated after coming within a single inning of a World Series championship last November, is still finding new sources of competition and new reasons for excitement every single day of spring training in Dunedin. Opening day is March 26th against the Athletics. The roster is taking shape. The bullpen battle is heating up. Addison Barger is channeling his inner World Series hero in March. And somewhere in Dunedin, a pair of Rule 5 arms with electric stuff are quietly making the decision-makers' jobs significantly harder than they planned. That is exactly what a successful spring training looks like for a team with championship ambitions, and right now, that is exactly what the Toronto Blue Jays have. Now we want everything from you in the comments right now. Does Addison Barger put together a 25-plus home run season and cement himself as one of the most dangerous middle-of-the-order hitters in the entire American League? Do Spencer Miles and Angel Bastardo both find their way onto the opening day roster? And if so, who loses their spot to make room? And does this Blue Jays bullpen, deep and talented as it is on paper, have enough proven high-leverage arms to get this team back to the Fall Classic? Tell us everything. Smash that like button if you believe this 2026 Blue Jays team finishes what they started last November. Subscribe to this channel right now because we are going to have a game recap, a roster update, and at least one story that will completely change the way you are thinking about this team every single morning between now and the end of October. Share this video with every Blue Jays fan in your life. The best baseball in Toronto since 1993 is not a dream anymore. It is a work in progress happening in Dunedin right now, and you do not want to miss a single moment of it. Let's go Blue Jays!